I'm quite happy today because I'm going to be chatting to Donny, who is a great astrologer. He has great insight. And we have decided to take on Billie Eilish chart today to see what brings her success, what her personality might be like, and how what the future holds for her. Hi, Donny.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining me. So, what do you think about our little star?
Well, first of all, she isn't even 18 years old. She'll be turning 18 like next week.
Yeah.
But she has probably achieved much more things than other artists have in such a short span of time.
She's one of the one who, I mean, she's the first one who has reached number one albums or songs since 2000. So no one has ever reached basically number one at such a young age.
I think she's I think the claim was that she's the first person born after the year 2000
Yeah, that's right.
to have a number one album and single. So
yeah, that's right. So definitely we're talking about some huge talent. What do you think brings her talent?
What do I think brings her talent? Actually, I looked at her second house, and second house like pertains to her like gifts and talents, what she naturally possesses, and her ascendant and midheaven as well. And of course, I got to look at one Arabic poem called the Path of Fortune.
Yeah.
So these are the four main things I look at, and yeah, why not plot that Path of Fortune in?
Yeah, I'm just gonna put that in actually.
Yeah.
So everyone can see where her Path of Fortune is.
Yeah. It's in Taurus, yeah.
Yeah.
That's also the degree where Moon is naturally exalted.
That's right. Yeah. She's got a very prominent Path of Fortune. Actually, Path of Fortune is a great, it's great to have it in Taurus because that's a money sign. So usually it indicates quite nice wealth, not mentioning that the ruler of the Path of Fortune, Venus, being very close by to the midheaven. So it's a great combo to have for someone who wants to be wealthy or well known.
Yeah, and also that that third house is also siblings.
Yeah, sure.
And Taurus is something artistic as well, and hence like she's working with her brother is like it's almost like we haven't had that brother sister combo working together since like Karen Carpenter and her brother.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, as you said, third house is pretty much talking about your siblings. So having that Venus on the midheaven could be a great indication that she's hugely influenced by her siblings, by her brother, who, if I'm not mistaken, is also a musician.
I think the brother, who's also like just 4 years older, has also appeared in like, was it 6 episodes of the TV show Glee?
Okay. I didn't
Like
know
singing
that.
and also performing. Yeah, I think that's one of his bigger gigs, as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Besides, of course, like being in bands, like fronting the band singing, and he is now helping Billie, like be it to write songs together.
Oh yeah, sure. If I'm not mistaken, it was his brother who wrote her very first song as well, right?
I think I actually read like bits and pieces regarding the first song, Ocean Eyes. We talk about that, why the name is so significant. I think you and I know why. But the
Yes.
thing is, I think that song was written by the brother like some time back, and then like uh, uh, Billie just took that song for was it like a dance recital music, because she dances at a young age before she started this whole singing thing.
Yes.
I mean, more seriously, of course. I mean, she wanted to be a dancer first, singer, like, you know, not as high up in her priority. And she just took her brother's song and just recorded it. and release it on
Yes.
what's it, SoundCloud, I think.
Yeah, SoundCloud. Yes, it's quite interesting that I read that she started singing at the age of 8. So it's quite interesting that Pluto by Solarark was hitting Midheaven around the age of 8, and that's when she really started like getting into the public eye. Maybe not on a large scale as Sagittarius does, but definitely it is quite a huge step for her. And then there's Solar Arc Pluto later on at the age of 11 is going to be jumping onto Sun as well. And that's when she really started writing songs.
Yeah, I mean, like she always gives me the very when she writes songs, it's almost like prophetic and philosophical in a lot of ways, and that can be from her like 10th house or the Sag energy. It's about philosophy, and the way she crafts her lyrics, I find is very Sagittarian. The way Sagittarians actually talk, they don't talk into the subject, they talk around the subject.
Yeah.
And so her lyrics, you can just kind of, it can be anything you want to be, but the meaning is like, yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, it's pretty profound, and it impacts like wide audience, hence the 10th house, and all.
I wish she had a little bit more optimistic approach to her songs with all that Sagittarian energies. Because I listened to some of her songs and they tend to be quite melancholic, a little bit depressive as well. Probably that's coming from the 12th house, I guess, because both the 12th house are very prominent and the ruler is quite prominent as well because Saturn gets quite loads of aspect in the chart. And 4th and 12th house tend to be quite secretive anyway. So I guess that's the reason why, for instance, she tends to be writing about love or heartache or, some philosophical type of questions, probably what she goes through. But that's quite normal anyway, because we're talking about quite a young teenager.
Well, I mean, she appeals to a lot of like girls her generation, right? The younger ones.
Yes. And
those are
that's
actually
very Sagittarian again, because that's something to do with the moral code and to a certain extent setting trends as well.
Yeah, and I actually did a dispositor tree for her charts.
Okay.
And actually 2 planets in mutual reception rules her whole chart. And that kind of told me the main quality of her, like, like what her life path will be, is actually that Saturn and that Mercury in mutual reception.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So can you just explain what the dispository tree is, if in case someone does not know?
Oh, a dispositor tree is basically like I look at planets, the 11 planets from Sun all the way to Chiron, and I look at the I only use traditional rulers or the visible planets as rulers. So like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, they don't rule anything, so to speak. And Chiron too, they don't rule anything. And I just draw a tree. It's almost like a Christmas tree now that we are approaching Christmas. And anything that is in rulership, like for example, if someone's chart has got Mercury in Gemini, for example, that will go on top. And the next level will be any planets in Virgo and Gemini, because Mercury rules those 2 signs. And I just built up that tree, like just cascades down like you can call it like an avalanche. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So basically those planets receive a little bit more emphasis. I would say that, we can almost give them as much importance as to the ruler of the angles, basically. Yes. So prominently, we tend to be taking into account the ruler of the midheaven and the ruler of the ascendant quite a lot in astrology. So when we set up a dispository tree, then the planet which maybe rules the chart or goes on top of the tree can be quite prominent as well. So as you said, in her case, this is going to be Saturn and Mercury. So what do
Yeah.
you think that might bring her?
Well, when I look at Mercury and Saturn and in mutual reset, I almost see it like a conjunction,
Yeah,
like in terms of energy, which is of course more important, like because it's a mutual reset that rules the rest of a chart. And like what does Mercury and Saturn actually, in aspect, what does it mean? It means like crystallization of ideas. So that also can mean like putting her ideas into tangible words and tangible forms and tangible art forms and communicating that out. So for her, it's in the 4th and 11th house. So it's like 4th house is about that home environment and also family. You know, Saturn rules elders, right? People
that's
older
right.
or adults that matter to her when she's a kid. And 11th house is hopes and dreams, you know, and publicity of sorts because it's one of the air sign natural houses. So it's her home environment, the grounding that she received, and also that Saturn is a Mercury. Mercury is about the education that you receive when you're much younger, and she was actually homeschooled. That probably played into the narrative of why at a young age she's managed to master Saturn, like all the skills of writing songs and you know all that because she has she's schooled in the home. Yeah.
That's right. I mean, fourth house also talks about foundation as well. So having Saturn in the fourth house, one of the interpretations to it is that you might want to step into the footsteps of your own parents, for instance, or you might be coming from quite a traditional approach.
Yeah.
And with that Saturn, actually, in her case, I believe, yes, she might be coming from a little bit of a restrictive type of family. So she might have been told how to think about things or how to pursue things, or she was already raised kind of as a successful child. Because we also have got North Node there. So these two energies are quite hard to handle in the fourth house. But I've seen in many cases that when there is Saturn and Mercury coloration going on in the chart, somehow you always get compared to your siblings.
Yeah.
And that gives you a kind of mental blockage. And now because there is a quite a prominent Chiron with that Mercury, I guess this is the case here. She was compared to her brother, and then she really had to step up her games. And it's like mentally being pushed into taking something on, you know, and follow those footsteps, basically. So I think she had quite loads of things to live up to, basically. Actress, mom, and screenwriter, and the daddy's an actor as well, and the musician. So definitely she has plenty of pressure on her to achieve something.
Well, she probably will see in hindsight that it's because of those dynamics that you described that actually help her to catapult all the way up when she's only like 15 years old, because she's got all the tools at her disposal, and the space that you know she has alone. You know, that 12th house says a lot. You know, like to be creatively inspired.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
surely. I mean, that 12th house really stands out for me because she seems to be a very strong Uranian person anyway. Even if you have a look at her pictures, she's got quite a weird sense of styling going on. She changes her hairstyle, I think, every week or so. She seems to be very unique. And obviously, we've got the moon there. And pretty much in conjunction with Uranus anyway. So that tends to be giving us quite a weird way of approach to our emotional world to start with. Or I don't know much about her personal life, and actually she's quite secretive about it. But Uranus and Moon conjunction can also give us that the family has been moving around quite a lot. And maybe that's the reason why she was homeschooled. Or unfortunately, Saturn and Moon in those houses could indicate that the parents were way too busy looking after her. So most probably the brother had plenty of roles to take up on, like maybe a father figure, for instance, because the ruler of the third house also is in the 10th. So the brother seems to be taking on parental figure in her life quite strongly.
And in the 10th house of Sag is like the hero of hers
Yeah, that's right.
that
Yeah.
you look up to, and hence like that kind of I think it was one of in one of those interviews that she had, like because the brother actually became known first, and she'll always be like, oh, when am I going to be famous, when am I going to be famous, you know, like that kind of spurred her to actually like to attain a taste of it. You know, she'll not be shy to perform on stage, you know, and look at me. But now that she's earning like, I think her net worth now is like $5 or $6 million.
Oh, quite nice.
And with all the young people just kind of like looking at her, and she's like, and she's trying to like soak into attention. But when I see that Mars and Saturn square, and you know, Mars in her first house, and you know, like with that Saturn square from the 4th, you know, she's kind of taken aback, and she need to feel that she's worth it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
with that Mars, she might put on plenty of energy into public image, or Pisces rules videos. So probably she pays quite loads of attention of how she appears on those videos. The appearance can be quite important for her. And maybe the Saturn actually indicates that, you know, the family might not so happy about it. Or at the beginning, they were not necessarily so supportive about her very unique appearance. But I guess when the success kicked in, the parents started to be very happy as well, though. So, yeah, surely.
And money talks, right?
And money talks. And she is definitely a money magnet. I mean, the ruler of the second house is in the first. I've got that fortunate position as well. And in my case, also, it's Mars as well. So imagining the ruler of the second house being in the first is like, the money is coming to me. So it's not necessarily means that someone is going to become a millionaire, but even when you are hitting the last coins in your wallet, somehow the money starts coming to your way again. So that's quite fortunate to have it as well in our charts.
I also looked up certain like fixed star positions.
Okay.
And because, you know, for famous people, there must be something that's of like a higher octane energy that makes her like so popular as crazy in such a short span of time. And I actually looked at where her sun and south node is, and it's right at the galactic center.
Yes. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there was some article that described her like she's not of this world. Like when everyone's doing like A in pop music, she's like goes all the way to the other side, and she's like from this other dimension. I'm like, that got me thinking. And when I actually sync up this year, I'm like, oh yeah, sure.
Well, I heard about the galactic center. If so, if you've got something in conjunction with the galactic center, yeah, that could indicate an element of fame. But also, the galactic center is very active usually at night, so between 11 and 1 a.m. And it's like a spiritual channel starts widening or opening up. And you know what, with that Chiron being close by and with her 12th house, I reckon she's quite spiritual. I mean, that Neptune and Moon conjunction alone could be indicating that she's got great insights. And Uranus in the 12th house in many cases indicates that someone is a genius and they've got like a seer abilities going on, being able to see the future. So if she's managing to keep those qualities, I think she can actually be a great star in some fields.
Well, and also like the 6 and 12 axis are like health and illnesses, right?
Yeah.
The axis of like, bad spirit, so to speak. And when I see those 3 planets in the 12th, I actually read about what medical conditions she has. She actually has Tourette's syndrome. She twitches. And she's got this thing called like synesthesia. She can see colors from numbers. She can see numbers from colors, or just all the senses are all jumbled up. And then when I thought about her 12th house, I'm like, it makes perfect sense. With that moon in between like Neptune and Uranus, as it's almost like this this super sensory kind of experience when she's alone or in the bedroom, and it can tell me that because that moon is ruling the 5th and Jupiter is there, she can actually find opportunity to creatively express herself. And she has kept like all the drawings of all the night monsters, as she calls it, and all that, and use that in the art in her album.
Yeah, the Tourette syndrome is pretty much related to Uranus and Mercury, because those 2 planets rule the nerve system.
Yeah.
Now, having just Uranus, for instance, in the 12th house might be indicating some type of unique illnesses or something to do with, uniqueness. And moon rules actually one of your eyes, depending on whether you are a male or a female. So actually that could be showing twitching there. And Neptune could be showing something to do with the colors, like someone being color blinded or not being able to recognize the colors. Neptune is all about, actually Neptune is the color of white. So it pretty much just being able to differentiate anything to do with white, like the angelic type of energies. That's why it's quite interesting that the music is still kind of pessimistic. And I do believe that one day she's going to need to turn to be more motivational in her music if she wants to stay in the industry, rather than, just being pessimistic. I think she can really change people's behavior or life path if she becomes a little bit more motivational or giving solutions by the song to these teenagers, because she's really looked up to.
Yeah, and actually the first thing that I looked at her chart is that Pluto and Saturn opposition.
Yeah.
And she's born just months after 911.
Mm-hmm.
She's born probably about, 3 to 4 months after. So when she's in the womb, she probably registered the energy of that 911 incident. That's like widely broadcast in the US, of course. And I think that kind of her fetal experience of going through 911 in the womb of her mom is almost like that melancholy kind of like grief-stricken kind of look that she has in her videos and in her interviews. Like she'll try to play up like her 10th house Sagittarius, like like the optimistic, bubbly. But I think or that's what she assumed people wants to see, But then she's now like so chill, and her face is like, it's almost like there's always this sadness, I would say.
Yeah.
This kind of grief. Like then when I saw that Saturn and Pluto like opposition, I'm like, okay, it's somehow playing to that narrative.
And also, you know, all her planets are pretty much on the me side.
Mm.
So, well, apart from maybe Venus as a personal planet, but the rest of them are on the me side. So that could suggest that someone is quite private, or it could also suggest someone being a little bit egoistic. And I do believe actually she is showing her true colors, her
Mm.
true personality at the moment, because I
Mm.
think the chart really resonates of what she is showing. So trying to stay private, um, trying to be unique, probably trying to give some, you know, hope to the youngsters as well. But at the same time, she just wants to share her inner feelings. And I think the chart really speaks about that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, all this like before the age of 18, like, it's extraordinary life, in itself.
Exactly. And also,
Uh,
12th house is pretty much about karma. Now, whenever there is, especially one of the luminaries in the 12th house, it does indicate to me that the person is really bringing some karmic experiences. So she might be even writing about things she hasn't even experienced. And that's the reason why she is able to give so much, let's say, about love, which she might not have experienced to a full extent, because yeah, that Uranus, Neptune, and Moon can indicate that in a way she remembers those, probably in a little bit of a hazy way with that Neptune, but you know, it's in her nerve system. It's like striking her sometimes, maybe some karmic experience, what she went through.
and
So
in
I think
Uranus,
she's right on the
yeah,
right road, to be honest.
yeah, and like that 12th house, like Neptune rules mythical figures,
Yeah.
and she actually got a song on her album called "Good Girls Go to Hell," and she brought out certain mythology like Lucifer,
Interesting.
and God and Lucifer and all those imagery, but the whole song is about global warming.
You
So,
did mention something about the fixed stars. So which one did you find, or the galactic center you found
and
quite
also
prominent?
I found prominent ones for her Saturn, her main chart dispositor tree ruler, and also her Jupiter.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually found that Saturn is actually sitting on Aldebaran, which is very like telling. So like when Saturn is on Aldebaran, like it actually can give a strange mind.
Well, can you
And
imagine? I've got Uranus on Aldebaran.
well, you
It's
can,
two degree. It's actually 1 degree apart. Yes. Yes, I
yeah.
do have
I mean,
Uranus on
Aldebaran
Aldebaran.
is like this. I, it does give strange like thoughts and this kind. In this kind of like it's almost like you're into the future with your thoughts,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
way far ahead, and people just might not understand it until you. I mean, since Saturn in her chart is like that top of that dispositor tree, so her strange mind is so prominent in the way she writes her songs that like she plays with words in such a way that she form rhymes, the lyrics with her brother, and sometimes the brother is just like, really, like, but they fought over, they fight with each other, they disagree a lot, but then they somehow just kind of okay, like let Billy like take part of the what she wants into the song. Oh, and also that Jupiter as well is actually on the fixed star Canopus
Okay.
and Sirius. So it's very prominent when you have the two like social planets on prominent fixed stars. And that Saturn rules all her Capricorn planets and that Jupiter rules all her midheaven planets. So it's even more like pronounced to me that
Yes.
uh, uh, yeah, let me just kind of go through a bit what Jupiter on Canopus actually means. Actually, Jupiter conjunct fixed star Canopus is using religious figures for business means.
Okay, and then it's in the
Hence that
business
song,
house as well.
and hence that song "Good Girls Go to Hell," you know, like, and talk about Luciferian, you know, like she'll make a deal with God or something, and also that potential public dissatisfaction,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of, it happened recently when she was giving a concert, and she was actually like some fans' arms were actually around her throat,
Wow.
wanting a photo with her, and she was singing like, you know, her song, and the fan just got so crazy and was like, she was in an arm lock, you know, like she was trying to like do this, and the security guard have to like separate it. So she's kind of taken aback, like whether she should still engage with the audience that closely, like she would, like, you know, go to the crowd and just like, you know, do stuff. And she's kind of shocked with that. It's taken her aback.
Interesting. I mean, definitely fifth house talks about business, and that Jupiter is very strong. I do believe that because the ruler of the midheaven, which talks about your profession, your life path, having that Jupiter in the fifth house, maybe later when it's going to get related to her own business,
Yeah.
expanding the idea, and that Jupiter is ruled by a moon. And that is also an indication, that's an isolated moon. So that could also be an indication of working on her own, taking on some creative projects, which is going to be probably shocking the world to a certain extent, but more likely working alone. I would definitely be able to imagine her with that Neptune, something to do with some artistic type of business projects later on. And with that Venus maybe around the midheaven, that could be something to do with fashion as well. Surely. Do you think that her singing career is going to last long, though?
Well, for that, right, I actually looked at where her part of spirit and part of fortune is. And part of spirit is actually in Aquarius in her 12th house.
Okay.
So actually did like a zodiacal releasing, and she's on a roll until the age of 29. So
Okay.
I think she's still got some peak periods to go, you know, with that. And her part of fortune is in Taurus, and her part of spirit is 10th from that part of fortune. So
Okay.
so she'll be busy at least till the age of 29. She's still got some time to go. So but after the age of 29, it will be like, I guess she'll be more playing the more background role, and she'll be just doing more stuff by herself, like, you know, because that's when the part of spirit actually moves from Aquarius to get released into Pisces. And Pisces is not exactly a very, yeah, I mean, it could be even like spiritual stuff and all that. So we have yet to see. But I
Maybe
know
the focus is going to be going on family, because obviously once the spirit moves into Pisces, then the ruler gets activated as well. Now Jupiter is in the fifth house, in the sign of Cancer, so the attention, the focus might be around children, romance, you know. Unfortunately, Pisces rising sign, also the ruler in water, and having Mars also in the first house, could be an indication going towards, you know, some type of obsessive energy. So let's hope it's not going to turn out that way. And it's going to be more to do with children. But
I see her family as a very good grounding force for her. So like so I wouldn't see her like really go way off But never say never.
Surely, but obviously she does have a moon in the 12th house. So even Saturn might have there to ground her. There might be some type of help coming from the Saturnian family, but Moon is in the 12th house in conjunction with Uranus and Neptune. So I reckon when an unfortunate situation happens in the family, let's say in regards to her mom, then I guess that's gonna be quite a breaking point for her.
Right.
So, and maybe it's gonna get also related to that age of 29, where she's gonna go in the background a little bit more in the dark. And just looking at her relationship situations, I mean, first of all, Juno being on 29 degree in the 6th house might not be a great indication of being able to find that very supportive and like a great husband material at an early age. And also the ruler of the 7th is in the 11th as well, in Capricorn. So Capricorn usually is like a late bloomer, tends to be finding their soulmate at the second part of their lives, because they might be way too focused on their career, or they might be way too focused on their social skills. 11th house rules the friends, the wishes and the hopes. So the focus seems to be on those. However, I know that she was madly in love with Justin Bieber, but I guess which young girl wasn't anyway. And then since then, we don't really know much about her love life. But that could be a little bit hectic as well, I guess, later on.
Well, Justin Bieber is also like a sun in Pisces, so it lands right in her first house. So when that song, like her number one song, she released a version with Justin Bieber in it.
Yeah.
And I would say that's quite a good move, like, on her part to actually collaborate. Also, I find that, like that 3rd house ruler in the 10th, that Venus, because like Venus is 5th from the 10th to the 3rd house. So bringing on from what you say, she could be falling in love with another musician.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And that Juno in Leo already might indicate that the person is in entertainment business anyway. Leo was staging, so it could be an actor. Leo was music industry, so that could really be the case there. The only little problem is that the Juno is in the 6th house. So again, 6th house talks about karmic debts. 6th house talks about latenesses. So there could be an element of, delay when it comes to her romantic love life. But let's hope the best, and she's going to be able to find someone great. But also that ruler of the 7th house in conjunction to Chiron might be also indicating that she has to go through a couple of heartache before she actually meets someone very, very significant in her life. And actually, I think that person can be quite a Piscean type of energy anyway.
And of course, there's an age gap involved, right, with that Capricorn 7th house ruler.
Oh yeah, that's right as well. Yeah, it could be someone who is older, a lot more mature type of feeling. Probably with that Chiron there could be an indication that the person himself might have gone through some heartache or a divorce before. Yeah, so something like that definitely the chart shows here.
I brought this up because like recently there was this news that the rapper and singer Drake.
Yes.
He actually like direct messaged Billie Eilish, and it caused a hoo-ha, like what's a 33-year-old man creeping on a 17-year-old girl?
Which is true, really.
Maybe, you know, I want to give Drake the benefit that he may want to be the mentor for Billy, but it still is creepy just by dropping, you know, direct messages to Billy's account. So.
Well, you know, seventh house rules business partnership as well. So having the ruler in Capricorn could be an indication of collaborating with older people. Now, I do know that when she was young, she did listen to Beatles, obviously Justin Bieber. So she wasn't necessarily just listening to her own age type of music, but she was also influenced by all these, let's put it this way. So I mean, by all these that, you know, more like a 80s 90s type of music.
Actually, going back slightly, like her Venus is actually on a fixed star called Sabik.
Okay.
And that itself is a good indication of like artistic and musical artistry and talent.
Nice.
So that Venus is very much like, you know, like Venus on prominent fixed star, Sun and K2 or South Node on like the galactic center, and there's so much energy coming from the sky above when she's born.
That, I do believe that she's gonna get famous though through another artistic way rather than just singing. I think there is gonna be more to it.
Yeah, I think I mean, now she's only got her first full album out, you know, and her first #1 hit. But I just know that with that Capricorn Mercury, she's always seeing further down the road, like what else can I do? Because she jolly well knows that she don't have the like most powerful of voices, you know, and you know her voice is somehow like a Pisces, you know, like a whisper.
Yes.
You know, like very soft, very like ethereal Pisces, you know, that Mars is there with ascendant. And hence like with that Saturn, which also rules big business, in the sign of Gemini to diversification, you know, in mutual reception to that Mercury in the 11. So I think her hopes and dreams is to really like diversify her business like a mogul.
Yes.
Gives me that mogul feeling. Yeah.
I can definitely imagine that.
Yeah.
And interesting, Pisces rising sign, Pisces rules ocean. So no wonder why her first song was relating to oceans.
Ocean, yes. And what else do I have? You want to see whether she will win big at the Grammy Awards like next month?
Oh, let's have a look. Yeah, let's bring some transits up here. And
she was actually heavily nominated. So
she's got 6 nominations going on.
I think it was 6 if I'm not wrong.
What's the exact date? Do you remember?
I do have it. So I think it's 26th of January. Yes.
Oh, my best friend's birthday. That might bring her some luck then. Oh, I should put the transits up, should I? And that's gonna help for everyone.
What transits progressions do you want to put?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. Let's put progressions up as well. Okay. What do you think? I mean, it's quite nice to have, you know, I just made a video on Jupiter in Capricorn where I said, while Jupiter was in the sign of Sagittarius, where you might have had plenty of optimism going on, or you might have planted the seed, you might have had plenty of idea. All those could come to manifestation once Jupiter enters the sign of Capricorn. Because Capricorn might slow things down, but also it crystallizes. So actually the transit in Jupiter on Mercury in Capricorn, which talks about rewards, 11th house talks about publicity and publicly being rewarded, already could be quite a great indication. Not forgetting that Sun and Venus around. Now let's just see, the progress Sun is on 15 degree and Venus is on 13. And sorry, Jupiter is on 12. I can call that as a conjunction. So in my opinion, that's a definite yes.
Yeah.
To be given even actually more than one reward easily. I mean, Jupiter and Sun conjunction is a great combo for fame in astrology. Now, just having Venus around as well, already talking about something to do with artistry, something to do with fame as well, because this Venus is pretty much related to fame in the chart anyway, being very close by to the midheaven. So that's already a great indication. Not mentioning that Uranus is transiting part of fortune as well. So it might be something to do with the sudden, pot of gold being gained, and Uranus is coming from the 12th house. So basically it's coming from the dark and then becoming a social media sensation. So probably this is not just this is not the beginning of her career in that sense. Probably she's going to gain more publicity. I could definitely imagine her being a great songwriter as well.
And the Neptune transit her ascendant.
Yes, surely. Neptune.
Musical accolades, her imagination is probably off the hook right now.
Exactly. Neptune could be talking about that unconditional love being given by the masses. So we always need Neptune when we want to become like a social sensation, because it's like being loved by everyone type of feeling. And that's going to be exact as well on the rising sign. You are right.
And it's also bliss, the high octane of Venus, right, is bliss. So she's almost feel like, okay, like she probably will get her award and say like, I made it. I'm so blissful, it's like, before she's 21, she's really like earned her Grammys, and she actually won big at the American Music Awards as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so she did. Also, midheaven is on Mercury as well, so the closest planet is Jupiter there. Jupiter is on 12 degrees, so by Egyptian terms, Jupiter is in its own term, which is a very favorable time for her, surely. And there is also this lovely sextile going on between Jupiter and Neptune. So even though Jupiter and Neptune might not have boundaries, but when it comes to things you have been dreaming on for a long time, actually all these wishes and hopes could manifest in the sign of Capricorn. So surely. Also the ruler of the midheaven is getting triggered by North Node as well. That's pretty close as well. So putting her on the map, basically. I still believe that many people don't really know who she is.
Well, I mean, like, she's part of the YouTube generation, so like you just need like even the older generation, they just need someone younger to show them a YouTube video and they're like blown,
Exactly.
blown away.
She's a sensation when it comes to to the youth, but people above age of 28, 30ish, they might not know her so well. So I guess that midheaven Jupiter conjunct in progress Sun and Venus, excuse me, could actually bring her even more success in the music industry.
I mean, surely. Like, and the way that she releases music is like independent. She doesn't go by the cut and dry formula of like, okay, like, I'll push out an album full of 12 songs. She usually just release one song. or one or two songs and just kind of build her album like organically. She doesn't want to play by the rules.
Yeah,
You know,
surely.
she don't do the like disappear for 2 years and suddenly release like 12 to 15 songs. She just kind of release every few months, and until she get enough songs, she release a whole album according to that.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I think like it's also changing how other artists want to move from there. And she's perpetually writing songs with her brother on the road.
Mm-hmm.
She's perpetually writing new songs, and like she get a bunch of songs and she'll like pick out like what can go onto the album ultimately, and go on from there. Hence, like her first song is like what 2000 was it 2015? Yeah, 2015, and the full album only came like 4 years later.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
I've just noticed that her Juno is in conjunction with Regulus.
Yeah.
So once she gets married, probably that's gonna be like a music prince type of person. That could really indicate getting married to someone who is like a very huge name in the industry, or in the industry what the person does basically. So I'm not saying definitely entertainment, because Leo could be indication of having a company, for instance, or being the king, being the boss. Wow, she might get married to a prince. You never know. But definitely someone huge with the Juno conjuncting Regulus as well.
Well, and then that Juno's ruler, it's almost like a father figure in Sag on the
And
midheaven.
bang on the midheaven as well. So we're pretty much talking about a relationship which is quite a powerful type of relationship, basically quite supportive towards each other, building that type of career together. Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
and you reckon she'll be treated like a trophy partner?
Well, such a combo could be an indication that it's more like a practical type of relationship, more like feeding that ego. These are in fire signs, so at least there is passion and desire there. But the problem is that passion and desire in fire signs tend to burn out quite quick as well. So it might not be such a long-term relationship, but definitely it's going to be hugely public as well, though.
And also it serves as a step up for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely a step up. I am sensing great collaborations going on with that person. Most probably that person could come around when Juno is going to be going into the 7th house by progression. But that's retrograde, so that's going to be happening quite later in life. Probably, I guess around the age of 29, we would be able to check that, but I guess everyone will be able to check when that happens.
Do you reckon her fashion sense will change? Or
I think it will. I think it will traditionalize a little bit more. Because she's got a huge Saturn going on here. So all the 12th house, all the 11th house energy ruled by Saturn. And then she's got all these Jupiterian energies. So even it might change in the near future when Jupiter and Saturn will be in conjunction, which is going to be happening next year towards the end of the year. So there might be some changes already coming up for her. Saturn is a very restrictive planet. Jupiter is very much of an outgoing. So these two planets seem to be kind of, an element of fight between those two. And I usually say that the key here is to find that mid-road, that golden mid-road. And I think that's going to be the key for her success, both on a personal and a professional level as well.
when I think about Jupiter and Saturn together, right, it's almost like you have to be in a sign of Capricorn, it's even more important to evaluate opportunities that come to you and be
Exactly.
realistic about this. What can you do rather than just kind of promise like 10 things and not deliver anything.
Exactly. Jupiter
Yeah.
tends to promise 10 things, but Saturn wants you to promise only one thing, but deliver that on a quality level. Jupiter is more about quantity, Saturn is more about quality. And obviously, because now Jupiter will be reporting towards Saturn, Saturn is going to be stronger there. So the qualities are going to be more important. So I reckon maybe she's going to start taking more like singing classes, improving her voice, the quality of her voice. Probably what she's going to produce is going to be even more like a quality as well. Probably her staging will improve hugely as well. And I think the songs she's writing will also change, especially from 2021.
Mm, but I still feel that there will be a very predominant like background kind of because when I see that that Saturn and that Mercury mutual reset, right? She's actually a very good observer of society, like in terms of like the waves of society. You know what I mean? Like what are the people that's going through, and she actually writes songs that will evolve with time. Like what are the issues? Because the thing is that when I went back to listen to that album, it's like it's appealing to the generation of young people nowadays that's feeling depressed. You know, the millennials. You know, and they're going through all that. You know, like to put it in a more mundane perspective, I think she's very in tune with the mundane aspects of society, you know, with that Saturn and Mercury. And she actually translates that into her songs I think she recently came out with one song that's about drug use
Okay.
and about her friends being stoned from taking drugs and her viewpoints on it, you know, to and with that Saturn is to correct something. So it's like she sent out a message that she's not a big fan of like her friends altering their personalities from drug use, and she's sending out that moral and civic message of like don't take drugs. And
I do believe we need such artists who give directions to our young generation. And I think she could be a great role model. And all that Saturnian energy actually might help her become one.
mm, and of
Well,
course
I
with
wish her all the best, really. And then I really hope she's going to take it very far, especially if she wants to motivate people around her. Because in the world, we do have some trouble with,
well
youngsters taking drugs and crime situations and so forth. So if she can
I
become a role model for them, it would be great.
I suppose with that Pluto in Sag, I mean she's in the same generation like Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, yeah,
So they are supposed to change our belief systems anyway, that generation. And it's about seeing beyond like the opposite sign is Gemini, so seeing beyond just what our five senses can pick up and just kind of blow that outwards, you know, like that fire energy. It's always outwards and seeing a helicopter view of what's going on, you know, the greater social issues rather than just what's on the ground, you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Tony. Um, I hope everyone enjoyed. I hope everyone could take a little bit of a learning from this video as well. At the end of the day, the aim of the videos are more like teaching rather than predicting what's going to happen to the person. Because astrology is not about, not about predicting a star's life. There always needs to be an element of a conversation with the person we do the reading for. And obviously we don't know much about them, and we might get to know the stars in one way, but they might be completely different in private life. So this is just more about trying to get to know her more on a personal level with the help of astrology, and maybe seeing what her potentials are.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining me today and discussing her chart.
Welcome.
It was very, very great what you gave us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everyone, and then see you